Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for being here with us today. My name is Maria Cristina Didero. I'm this year curatorial director of Design Miami, and I am very happy to be here with Laura Kohler and Nada Debs. Thank you. Laura Kohler is Chief Sustainability and Diversity Officer for Kohler, a giant of ceramics. Nada Debs, designer from Beirut, but you spend your time between Beirut and Dubai. We are very happy to present a project that Nada did especially for Kohler. It is this fantastic Hammam that you will see at the fairground, and this is really a project that was born out of empathy and collaboration, which is something that's very special to find, and it has been a pleasure to work all together. So I would like Nada to show a little bit of her slides, and then we will have a conversation about this overarching thematic called the Golden Age that I proposed to Design Miami this year. The Golden Age, it's not our age, but it is like an optimistic slant for the future, for a better future for the planet, for humanity, for animal and plants. So it is it's not utopistic. If we work all together, innovation, technology, everybody put their effort together, maybe we can improve our common living. So please, Nada, do you want to start with your
Good morning, and thank you so much for Maria Cristina MEC for this opportunity with Laura also. For me, it's been like a real honor to be collaborating with such an important brand and that has such an important message that they want to give. And for me, I think we relate to the same kind of message. So I'm really honored, and thank you for this. I just want to explain a little bit of what kind of work I do, just a little background. So I grew up in Japan, and I moved to Lebanon 20 years ago, and I found that craft of the region was completely ignored. And coming from Japan, where craft is revered and it's an art form, I decided to incorporate design into our craft. So we kind of consider ourselves as craft custodians. We want to preserve the craft, but give it new life. So you'll see that what we do is we use a lot of work that relates to our identity, to the Middle East, and usually it's seen with repetitive pattern and geometry. And the reason for that is because we believe that geometry is a universal language that everybody in the world can relate to. So my work is really to take traditional work and give it completely new life and become very contemporary and relevant to who we are, and to accommodate different nationalities and different cultures. We have a studio in Beirut in a 1930s building, and it's an old apartment. And so the idea is that when I'm designing furniture, I want people to see how the furniture is lived in. So it's not just something you look at as an art piece, but you actually live in that space and know how the furniture is being used. Most of our work is really collaborating and also working with customized pieces. So the client is always involved in the creative process. So at the end, when the pieces are in their homes, they have a connection to it. And this connection is very important. So you'll see some of the works that we do. We create really contemporary pieces, but deep down, it's all made by hand and by master craftsmen. And these communities that I work with are usually marginalized communities, a very small group of people. And the idea is to give them work, sustain their business, and sustain the heritage. And I don't know if you believe in this, but for me, when you're working with craft, it's almost like a devotion, it's a prayer, it's a meditative process. And by the time the person receives the pieces, they feel the energy of the craftsman. And to me, this is a really important part of craft. So also, identity is a really important factor in what we do. So because I grew up in Japan, some of the pieces have that minimalist approach. And at the same time, we're using the craft of our region. This is a bar that I created, inspired by anime. So here, as I was saying, that craft is a form of mindfulness, and that relates a lot to well-being. And we call our objects objects with soul. This is a collection I did, a carpet collection in Afghanistan with women carpet weavers. So the most important thing for me is really building an emotional connection to our craft techniques, so people can feel it when they're seeing the piece or experiencing it. And at the end, I think we call our work a modern memory, because really it is about many, many years of heritage and culture, but at the same time, it's very relevant to today. That's it.
Thank you, Nada. Thank you. It is amazing how this, the craftsmanship and the work that you usually do with the small lab of artisan could be applied with the giant like Kohler. So
Yes.
what you told me is that you felt that you were not working with a big company, but with people that you had really relationship and empathy and so on.
Yeah.
Great. I think we have a video.
Every end is also a beginning. The only question is, of what? At Kohler Company, our dedication to sustainability and entrepreneurship led us to create our internal innovation incubator, Innovation for Good. From that emerged the Kohler Waste Lab, a small-scale studio where we challenge ourselves to see beauty and artistic possibility, where others only see remnant and byproduct. Working in small batches, pairing expert craftsmanship with bold innovation, we take what can no longer be used in our manufacturing operations. Slag, scraped from molten iron. Excess glaze, collected from the spray booth. Pottery wastewater, processed into filter cake. Material that others would send to the landfill. And step by step, we break it down and reshape it into something new, into products of elegance and sophistication, driven by our passion for sustainability and the belief in a better future. We write a new beginning, one of beauty, artistic creativity, and limitless possibilities. We write the beginning. The rest is up to you.
So Nada, Laura, how this idea of the Hammam came about, and why it's so important to talk about well-being after the unprecedented times of the pandemic?
So it's really, MC, about all three of us, right? Because you, as the curator of Design Miami, and helping us think bigger, and proposing this idea.
Already bigger.
Yeah, and proposing this idea of Hammam really helped us think about our roots in well-being, our roots in wellness, and how do we bring that to the work that you had an idea for, and then Nada was the perfect designer to help us make it come to life. And then the Waste Lab really coming in with sustainability and this reuse Yes, it was amazing the way all three of us lent our ideas and expertise and came up with the concept.
Nada, what was your reaction, your
Well,
first reaction to the idea of the Hammam?
Yeah, I remember receiving the email, and the MC is saying, "Are you interested in designing a hammam?" And suddenly I felt like my horizons opened up, because we're first working with Kohler, which is really one of the you know largest brands in the world for sanitary products. And also being educated in the States, I've already been aware of Kohler. And the fact that it's about sustainability and working with a waste lab, and that means it's about craft. And so for me, the idea of making tiles, and as you had seen, I work a lot with geometry and pattern. And this was like the perfect way of expressing our craft, but in such a large-scale project.
But we have to say that this idea of the Hammam, besides elevating our well-being, mental and physical well-being, has another very important layer, the one of sustainability. What you have seen here actually comes up from the waste lab. So all the handmade tiles are made out of waste, the glaze and the tile itself. And this is really a main concern of Laura, that is trying to elevate his company as much as she can in this direction. So can we say that taking care of yourself, self-care, can be also taking care of the work?
So absolutely, right? So in this world that we live in, self-care, well-being, we all have to continue to figure out, right, what is our formula for being the best we can be. The time for reflection, the time for renewal, the time for being together, all of those things, we at Kohler create those kinds of experiences. But we can also do it with sustainability in mind. So how can we do it using less water? How can we do it using less waste product and less energy? So how do we really continue to challenge ourselves as innovation manufacturers and designers to really think of well-being spaces that can also be very sustainable? So it absolutely works together.
And Laura, your commitment in this direction is growing day after day, I know. So you're
Well,
very busy.
Yeah, I mean, my commitment, but I think Kohler's energy and focus on it is really coming together in a very powerful way, because it's igniting innovation across the company.
Nada, how much, I mean, it's like a weird question, but how much sustainability is important to
Yeah.
your design in this project?
Yes.
And
Yeah, so for me, sustainability, first it starts with sustaining work for all our employees, all our craftsmen. These are people who almost had no more work. And here I've come and I've given them this opportunity to take this work and share it with the world. And so that's one form of sustainability, creating objects that last a long time, because when something is handcrafted, it has a lot of value, and it stands the test of time. But there's also the sustainability of our bodies, and I think the concept of the hammam is also very important to kind of remind us of the importance of taking care of our bodies, because if we're not taking care of ourselves, we won't know how to take care of other things. So it just came in line, and the whole reason of having this hammam, we created like 3 different rituals.
yes, please, would you like to tell our audience the
Yes,
3
yeah.
environments?
So the hammam, usually when you have a hammam, you have this process of, first of all, disconnecting from, you take off your clothes, you go into a sauna, you're self-reflecting. So the first step is to really disconnect from the world. And then the second step would be to cleanse yourself and get rid of the toxins. And then the third space is where you're sharing and you're connecting with the others. So it's really going from the internal world to the external world. And so this is the way, and the way we did it is by using the same modular tiles in different colors and shades and application. And this way we were able to show that from one simple tile, you can come up with different experiences.
And Laura, how can we prioritize this need? How can we push companies and designers to work together in this direction? I know we just said we had a coffee few minutes ago, and we said sustainability. Everybody talks about sustainability today. I said that it's never enough. We should, keep on talking about it, but we should also do something. No, we also should get into action. So maybe there is a formula.
Well, so I believe in incubators, right? Allowing and unleashing the energy that you all have on your teams and your companies to allow innovation to happen, to allow those new ideas to come forward. So Waste Lab is actually, the idea of Waste Lab came out of Innovation for Good, which is a small little organization within Kohler that innovates new ideas coming from our associates. It unlocks their ideas. Waste Lab was an idea 15 years ago. 5 years ago, it formalized because our leadership decided wow, this is a great idea. Let's fuel this little business to actually grow and be able to have great collaborations like Nada. And I think we can lead by example. As big companies, we can actually foster internal incubation and experimentation. We go after waste streams at Kohler. Where are the waste streams and what can we do with those waste streams? And we can make something new from the waste stream. And if we tell that story, we can ignite others to take that practice of experimentation and incubation into their companies and their teams. So I think brands like Kohler that go down this path have an opportunity to also tell the story and ignite the passion in others.
Also to enlighten the way, to show the way.
Yes.
Absolutely. And so just to connect to what Laura just said, what is the role of designers and creativity in this direction?
Yeah,
Very important.
Yes, I think.
But in a practical way, can you say?
Yeah. So I mean, for me, it's taking what the philosophy behind the Waste Lab and preserving the Waste Lab and working with the craftsmen, and in this case it was Monty, just one person, and we really worked on taking this craft and really making it a beautiful, finished, beautifully looking tile, so it doesn't look like waste, but it shows an example of something that can come out of waste, but can be just like a normal tile that one buys. So this idea of that waste is not like recycled, like inexpensive PVC-looking things. Like it could really be a beautiful end product. And this is a perfect example, I think, of that, because the workmanship was so beautifully done. I was actually more than surprised at the end result, because we did this remotely. So it turned out really beautiful.
So can I just tell a quick story? We have a popular product, the Crackle tile, which was one of our original collections of Waste Lab. The waste stream for Crackle tile was beginning to disappear. That's a good thing, right? When your waste stream disappears, that's the goal, right? Zero waste. So we had to take the concept of the customer still wants that tile, but we have to find another waste stream that can deliver the Crackle tile product. And our team was able to innovate with that challenge and come up with a very similar product that meets the desire of the customer. So going after things like that and being challenged midstream when your waste stream disappears, how do you take that obstacle and make it actually a new innovation experience?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, and we cannot talk about sustainability and not considering consumption. No, in this world, it is fast-paced. Everything has to be given very quickly. So, how can we dominate consumption? In case we can.
I mean, actually, the idea of the hammam is a very, very old traditional ritual. And I think that now, instead of just having small baths, I think the idea of really taking care of our bodies and going through hammam experiences is important. So that means that we do need tiles on the walls. So it is a necessity almost to create tiles, because that's part of the whole experience of doing hammams. Yeah.
And I think sustainability takes its form in many ways. You know, recycled products like Waste Lab tile, but also water conserving products. And how can manufacturers and innovators work with designers to help the consumer understand what's possible?
Yeah, to
right?
inform them so
Yes.
that when they buy a product, they are aware of what they are buying.
Yes, and that user really wants beautiful form and function, right? And then if they know it's also sustainable, then they have something that they'll be proud of over many years.
So, what is the role of beauty in all this?
I think beauty has to have an emotional connection. So, um, so that's why I feel that when things are handcrafted, there's a human element, even in the production process, and that human element is what we feel. So even like I always give the example of cooking for someone you love, and the food is so good, and we can't explain it. And I think in a way, creating crafted products like these tiles, it's made with a human energy and devotion, and I think that that is the emotional attachment, and that relates to beauty.
And I think of another way I would say it is meaning. When something has meaning to they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
And what is beautiful to you, MC, may be different than for me.
Correct.
And we have an emotional relationship. And the more something has meaning, many times it means that it takes on a richness, right, to the beholder. And I think that
Absolutely.
Waste Lab Tile and the Hammam is an experience that people have that makes beauty come to life.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we can say that the Hammam is a narrative expedient to talk about well-being, sustainability, and all these other very important
Yes.
values that characterize Kohler as a company and your work as a designer.
Yeah, I was just also going to add that there are other sensory experiences like sound and scent, and those all, partake in the sense of well-being.
And Laura, I would like to know from you how much is important for companies like yours to engage to external partners, designers, artists, how it's enriched the history of the company, of course.
So it's absolutely important for us to continue to open our minds, to have new relationships, to bring diversity into the company and have it is part of our DNA. It has always been for almost 150 years, really part of how we continue to grow and innovate is really partnering with people on the outside to really use our experiences and our talents on the inside to make something even better. So whether it's the arts industry program that's 50 years old, bringing 16 artists into our company, working in the pottery and the foundry, creating new work, whether it is external partnerships with people like Nada and UMC, it really helps our teams continue to innovate and energize, and it's super inspiring for all of us.
How many people work in the Waste Lab? I never asked you.
5.
Wow.
But we just got some funding and some support to actually expand production and expand our
Enlarge
teams and enlarge. So we are super thrilled about what lies ahead in 2023 during our 150th celebration.
Great. Wow, this is a great achievement. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nada, do you want to tell our audience the name of your collection, why you gave this name to this fantastic collection, and what is the meaning?
So the collection is called Transcendence, and as I grew up in Japan, I was surrounded by people from different nationalities and different religions and different cultures, and for me, I was always looking for that one common element, and I feel like everything I do through design is something that transcends all this, to find a common element among everybody. And so the reason we thought of transcendence is even in the hammam experience, when you think of Japan, you have the onsen, and you have like in India, all these, and Turkey and Morocco and Syria, all the hammam experiences we all want the same thing at the end. And so we're really transcending all the differences and finding that common element. So that I thought is a very important point, and that really relates to the Kohler philosophy of diversity and inclusivity. So, yeah.
And honestly, that was one of Nada's unique talents to bring to us, is the global experiences of living in all these different cultures and how that informed the project. It was wonderful.
Yeah, because the Japanese onsen that you
Yes.
just mentioned, combined with the Middle East tradition of the Hammam, really gives like a specific approach to this
Yes.
subject.
At the end, we're reaching the same goal, but from different angles. So this is what's important, I think, to do that. So, and bringing it together with sustainability of the body. We're sustaining the well-being of our body as well as sustaining the tiles, the craft. There's a lot happening right there.
Yeah, I have to say that that was a very positive and optimistic project, that I think the one that really reflected our idea of golden age, and like this idea that things can be actually improved and then they can be better. Is there any question from our audience for Laura or Nada? Don't be shy, please. No questions? No questions. So I would like to thank Kohler first for accept me the idea of the Hammam at the beginning. I think that it was very courageous for such a giant to jump into this ambitious project, and I want to thank Nada to develop it at best. And I think that such a chemistry can only bring good things. So thanks, Laura. Thanks,
Thank
Nada.
you.
Thank you
Thank you
very
so
much for
much.
being here with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.